Okay, when I was talking to Terry Kelly, our next guest, about the summit, you know what? I tried really, really hard not to say things like, as you can see, this looks like. I also tried really hard not to use the phrase visually impaired, but I did. So at which point, Terry said to me, Helena, it's okay to say I'm blind. And I don't like visually impaired because it sounds like I'm drunk. So Terry Kelly tells it like it is. Now, he became blind when he was 2 years old. His eyes were actually removed because of a rare hereditary cancer. Being blind didn't stop Terry at all. He rode horseback through the Andes. He went downhill skiing and water skiing, and he walked the full Camino de Santiago from France to Spain. He became a much-loved musician performing internationally. He's received the Order of Canada, has many honorary doctorates, many music awards, plus he's been inducted into the Canadian Disability Hall of Fame. Today, Terry is going to invite us to change the way we look at the world, and he's going to do it as only Terry Kelly can, with words and music. So please welcome the amazing Terry Kelly.
Hey everybody, it's great to be here for the Silver Economy Summit. Let's celebrate life. 2, 3, 4. Hey, celebrate life. Ooh. Hey, celebrate life. Ooh. Through the tears she can hear many questions swirling around. Where to turn, so much to learn, endless confusion pouring down. She lets him scream and swear, then they kneel in there, and they make her vow that no matter how this plays out, rest assured, let there be no doubt, we will celebrate life, find the joy in the journey, shine our light. Many hearts, many minds, grow hope and make us strong. Together we'll overcome. Celebrate life, hey, celebrate life. Ooh, hey, celebrate life. Ooh, I'm amazed by the smile and the courage of a child, in awe of a woman's resolve to live strong. I'm inspired by the man who embraces a plan. Come what may, they will live on. If you don't know what to say to someone, just be there. Love and laugh, take some walks, breathe the ocean air. If we stand together, we will survive. We will bid this beast goodbye. So let us keep our dream alive, and we'll celebrate life, find the joy in the journey, shine our light. Many hearts, many minds, grow hope and make us strong. Together we'll overcome, celebrate life. The only thing in life that never changes is there will always be change. May we all find comfort in knowing that change brings hope, and hope grows faith. That faith change will come. Yeah. Celebrate life, find the joy in the journey. Shine our light, many hearts, many minds. Grow hope and make us strong. Together we'll overcome. Celebrate life, hey, celebrate life, find the joy in the journey. Shine our light, many hearts, many minds. Grow hope and make us strong. Together we'll overcome. Celebrate life, hey, celebrate, shine your light. Yeah, yeah, celebrate, shine your light. Fill every moment with love. Shine your light. Yeah, yeah, celebrate. Fill every moment with love. Ooh, celebrate life. And thank you very much. Pleasure to be here today. And we're going to talk about some things. Talk about celebrating your life. Before I get into that, though, I want to make sure that you know that I'm inviting you to my little studio here at home. And so if you want to join me here right in this room, just pull up a chair, like the friendly giant would say, or you can just relax wherever you are. And first, so just do that, and I want you to, at the end of a song, if you feel like applauding, do it, okay? Because I'm watching you. You're here with me, or I'm in your house with you, if you don't mind me dropping by. But first I want to tell you a little story, if I may, if I could indulge me here. So I was in Sydney, Cape Breton, I don't know, 2-3 years ago, and the radio, I listened to the radio, and I heard this advertisement. There was a guy, car salesman, used car sales guy, saying, you want a truck, you want a car, you want a van, but no one will give it to you because you don't have the money. You come see me, and all you need to get the money to buy your car, your truck, your van is a pulse. So I thought that was great, you know. All you need is a pulse. I'm going to give you the cash, buddy. And so it got me to thinking about today. And I thought, you know what? I'm not going to give you a car or a van or I mean, if I could, I would. Sure, I would. Or a truck or a loan, you know. But what I can offer you is if you have a pulse, as the sales guy said, I know that you have a purpose. And I can help you. I'm going to talk to you about how having a pulse is a good reason to know that you have a purpose. It's a guarantee. And so, and all you need is a passion for something. You can discover that. A passion, you need to be persistent. And, you know, and of course, now how do you know what your, who is it now? Stephen Covey said, if you want to find what your purpose is, come to know what your gifts are. So you've had gifts, you've all been in business throughout your lives or doing different things or raising families, whatever. You have gifts for those things. You have gifts for whatever else is to come in your life. And so I'm asking you to consider what they are so you can know what your purpose is. Here's a question for you. If you could sit down with your 20-year-old self and give that person advice, what would you say to them now? And does any of what you would say to that 20-year-old person from your past, would any of what you would say to them, does any of that apply now? Have you neglected to do some of the things that you might have said to them? And that's, let's take it back to the purpose. Is ageism really a problem? And where does that begin? I suggest that ageism comes from, if there's a problem with it, it's yours and mine, our perception of ourselves. So if we say to people, you know what, we got to treat seniors differently, before that's going to happen, we have to project a posture, a mental posture, a personal posture. Look at this thing here. There was a time in my life when I didn't want to use this thing because I thought if I use a white cane, people are going to know I'm blind. Meantime, I'm walking around smacking into stuff and they're saying, so what's he on, right? Once I discovered this white cane was actually nothing to embarrass me, it was a tool of independence. And so just because you've got a few years under your belts, or just because maybe your body has changed in some way, or your mind, whatever, I'm asking you to say, if I discover my gifts, I will know my purpose, and I've got a pulse, so that's my responsibility. So what would you say to your 20-year-old self? Here's a question for you, and we'll talk about this as we go. Are you blind in your mind? What does that mean? And if you're blind in your mind, which is more debilitating? Well, two things. You can be blind in your eyes or blind in your mind. Which is more debilitating between the two? I suggest as being blind in your mind. It's better to have mind sight maybe than eyesight. Is your mind sight connected to your limiting beliefs, such as your fears, insecurities, your confidence that's on the upside, or your personal, professional, gifts? Is there a difference? We're going to talk about all these things. Is there a difference between believing and knowing? I say there is. So I'm going to be talking about that, and as I talk about it, I want you to remember, I'll remind you of this later, but I'm going to be offering a program called The Way and the Wonder and the Why of the Wheel. And so if you look at the wheel of life, if you want to balance yourself, and if I want to balance myself, we need to look at 6 main areas in our life, and then each of those have a branch going from it, such as, how are you spiritually? Do you meditate? Do you pray? Do you get quiet sometimes? What about from a mental perspective? Do you work on choosing positive thoughts? Do you find the good in all people, all things? From an emotional perspective, I like to say to people, it's tough getting a new emotion, choosing a positive emotion over a negative one, if you're in the habit of sort of defaulting to the negative. So here's what I like to say. And we don't have time to go into this, but the program that I will be offering, and you can come later some other day. So think about this. I say to people, stop, embrace. So embrace that, be aware of that negative emotion. Erase, get rid of it. And how do you get rid of it? By replacing it. So you stop, embrace, erase, replace. And practice that, and you'll be, before too long, doing choosing positive emotions. So from a social perspective, who's in your life? My mom used to say to me, Terry, you're known by the company you keep. Well, that goes for adults as well, and we talk way more about that. From a physical perspective, what are you eating every day? And even from prescriptions, how many prescriptions do you take? Do you check them once a year? Here's a little thing. You can do the research on this, that once you take 5 prescriptions, you go beyond one. Once you go beyond 5, you are using new prescriptions, new drugs to treat the side effects of the ones you've already taken. And then from a financial perspective, how are you managing money? Guess what? Because you have a pulse, because you have a purpose, doesn't mean you can't make money even when you're 80 or beyond. Just a pulse is all you need. Mark Twain said, the day you were born was your lucky day. Now, some people might say, well, I've had a pretty tough life. Well, yeah, but we still have opportunity. Every human was given the choice of choosing, of determining what we do with our lives. But back to what my mom used to say, you're known by the company you keep. My dad used to say, people are as you are. Yeah, do you smile at people? Or do you encourage other people? Do you ask them what their day's like? So Mark Twain said it's your lucky day, and I believe it is, because then you have lots of opportunity. How about this? I can prove to you, even before the day you were born, there's some pretty interesting stuff going on. It was exciting. Imagine this. 9 months before you were born, there was a sperm. that went swimming down this great river looking for an egg to fertilize. Problem was, there was thousands of other sperms looking for those eggs as well. Guess who got there? You. You made it. You made it. You won the race. You got the gift of life, and here you are now. So celebrate that as well. And that means that you've got a responsibility to take your life and make something of it. So, when you were born, there was a light that shone from you. I mean, just think of the time that you had a new child, for those of you who have children. Remember the feeling of holding that baby in your arms every time you did it? And how the light, the aura from that baby wrapped around you and comforted you. Now, you had to comfort the baby sometimes, and the baby felt your hug and your snuggles and giving them food and nourishment and love. But the baby gave it to you as well. Oh, I could even say the same thing about a pet, your dog, your cat, your horse. You know, you can feel the aura of those things. And so you had a light, is what I'm getting at here, when you were born. And maybe it was covered up. Maybe it's down to a little flicker now. But guess what? You can revitalize. You can make that light grow into a big flame again by back to your purpose. You got a pulse. You have a purpose. You got a passion. You're present. You decide to go for it. It's going to work. Remember the old time. It was back for those of you who are old enough. Lots of you are here at this gathering, I guess. There was a time when disco music was people thought it was going to kill rock and roll. People were afraid. People were nervous about it, right? But guess what? Did rock and roll ever die through the disco era? No. Is rock and roll still alive? How many of you out there like rock and roll? Tell me. Yeah, of course you do. Right? Doesn't matter. Even if you're a classical person, I bet you've danced to a rock and roll tune before. And so, why am I talking about rock and roll? Because the spirit of rock and roll lives on, and so does yours. Your spirit will live on even after that shell of a body that you're living in goes into the ground or whatever you do with it when you're finished with it. But your spirit lives on. And so another reason why you want to celebrate the life that you have and the race you won, fertilizing that egg way back and listening to what Mark Twain said and all the things that you've done in your life. If you've got a pulse, you have a purpose. So you can leave a legacy, right? So let's play a little You Can't Stop Rock and Roll. Kyle, why don't you hit it there? We'll get this going here. All right. Get it going. Here we Can't Stop Rock and Roll. Yeah. And for those of you at home, get yourself, maybe you can do a little dancing if you want to dance, or if you're in a chair, you can do a little rolling. If you have one of those walkers, you can do something like that. Get up and do a little dancing, or just sit there, clap your hand, tap your toe, and the spirit of rock and roll will live forever, and so will yours. All right? So here we go. Get ready. 2, 3, 4, 1. You can break off my record, hide my guitar, burn all the posters of my favorite stars. You can't stop rock and roll. We're talking on the telephone, tearing my tickets to the Rolling Stones. You can't stop rock and roll. Yeah, no, you can't stop rock and roll. No. Now how you gonna keep my heart from beating? How you gonna turn me down? How you gonna keep my soul from singing? Na 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 na. Why not admit it's here to stay? No matter what you do or what you may say, you can't stop rock and roll. Yeah. You can't stop rock and roll. How you gonna keep my heart from beating? How you gonna turn me down? How you gonna keep my soul from singing? Na 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 na. Clap your hands here now. Wreck all my records, you can't have my guitar. Burn all the posters of my favorite stars, but you can't stop. That's right. You can't stop rock and roll. Why not admit it? It's here to stay. No matter what you do or what you may say, you can't stop. You can't stop rock and roll. That's right. Yeah, no, you can't stop. You can't stop rock and roll. Can't stop you either, right? No, can't stop. You can't stop rock and roll. Yeah, thank you. Can't stop rock and roll. Okay, so enough of that one for now. So when I was a kid, my mom and dad heard about a school for the blind in Halifax. I'm originally from St. John's, Newfoundland. I like to tell people, well, I'm from overseas, and that gets them going, you know. Anyway, so before I went to the school for the blind, a man from the CNIB came to our home and told my mom and dad about the school for the blind in Halifax. Previous to that, all my aunts and uncles and cousins and neighbors, you know, were kind of wondering, knocking my microphone around there, kind of wondering what's going to happen to this little kid who's blind. So my mom and dad fortunately had a little bit of vision, and they listened, and they sent me away to Halifax. I left when I was 7 years old. I was away from home 9 months of the year. I did get home at Christmas. Some kids didn't. But I was there 9 months of the year. And it was tough, but what a gift. So I get there at the School for the Blind, and the first thing I notice is that no one feels sorry for me like they did back home. No one was sad. No one babied me. No one overprotected me. Why? Because the teachers at the school and all the people who worked there knew that lots of kids who were blind had gone through there before and were doing just fine out in the world. And so they taught us to work on building our mind sight. And something else I hadn't mentioned at the beginning is that they taught us about how to make dream adjustments. What do I mean by that? So we wanted to play basketball. So the phys ed teacher, Mr. Cook, said, well, you know, I know how this is going to work, but I want you guys to use your imagination, use your creativity, be problem solvers. At this school, we are problem solvers, and you're going to need that for the rest of your life. So Mr. Cook says, I want you to figure out how you're going to do this, play basketball, even though you can't see. So we got talking, thought about it a bit, and threw some ideas around. Finally, long story short, we decided that we'd put a beeper in the basketball net, listen to the sound of the beeper, throw the ball towards the sound, and with practice, we got the ball in the net. And when I speak to thousands of school children, and so I say to them, you know, you could put a blindfold on, and you could put a beeper up in that basketball net in your gym here, and with practice, you could actually learn to do that. You have that gift if you wanted to develop it. So I said, since I don't have eyesight, I like to say when we played basketball, we had some ear sight. We lined up in the beeper and got it that way. So that led to how did I make a dream? That was a little dream adjustment, making a dream come true. I had a dream to play hockey. Now, I'm never going to play professional hockey. Well, maybe I could play with the Maple Leafs about what things are happening there. They might take me on, I suppose. I don't know. Anyway, that's another story. I digress. But so we wanted to play hockey. So we took the principle of the idea of the basketball net, put a beeper here on one net, buzzer over here, beeper, buzzer. That's how we distinguish between the two nets. And we'd play hockey that way. That's how we scored our goals. Now, sometimes we would get confused and score on ourselves. But again, the Maple Leafs just did that a few days ago. So anyway, my team. Sorry, guys. Mr. Cook, taught us to think and be problem solvers. It was pretty cool. Mr. Cook was an amazing teacher. Mr. Cook had us doing gymnastics, teaching us spatial awareness. We were using the rings. We were using the vaulting. We were using the balance beams. We used everything, built pyramids 4 levels high. And springtime came one year. I remember clearly, Mr. Cook, we're talking about all the different things we're going to do during track and field week. And so when we're getting ready, we're going to practice and work on different skills. So Mr. Cook tells us to choose something. And some of us who are totally blind, we want to run. Mr. Cook says, oh, forgot to mention, those of you who are totally blind, no running for you guys. Those of you who are partially sighted, that's okay, you can do that. But not, we said, why, sir? Why can't the blind guys and girls run? He said, it's just, it's not safe. It's not practical. You guys have lots to choose from, so do that. And, pick something that's fun, but running is out of the question here. So we said, okay. Mr. Cook retires. Don't forget now, he's a fabulous teacher. Mr. Fraser comes to the school. About 2 weeks in, after he's settled in, he comes to us and says, hey, who wants to go running with me? Lots of kids said yes. Those of us who were totally blind said, we can't, sir. He said, why not? He said, because we're blind. He said, what does being blind have to do with not running? He said, as far as I know, all you need to run is a pair of legs. we said, yes, sir, but it's not practical. Listen to what we're saying. We're repeating what Mr. Cook said. It's not practical. It's not safe, sir. We have to be realistic. What's going on here? You see, what we discovered was Mr. Cook had mind sight. He had a vision of what we could do, but he had a little blind spot. So he was a little bit blind in his mind. And as a result, we became a bit blind in our mind regarding running, at least. So Mr. Fraser says, okay, when I came to this school, I heard that it's a problem-solving school. We said, is that true? Yes, sir. He said, well, let's solve this problem. Let's do some research. See if anybody else in the world is doing it. So we discovered that someone got talking about a 3-legged race. And Mr. Fraser said, could that work? We said, well, sir, we can't really run with 2 legs tied together in a three-legged race. He said, what about if you use the principle of a 3-legged race? What about if you synchronized your stride? Now, for those of you who want to see this, you go to my website, you'll see a song called The Power of the Dream, which I'm going to play now, but the video isn't. We're not going to show you the video today, but you can see that. You'll see me training for the Paralympics. And so what happens for a person who's blind to run, I'm exaggerating, your arm is going back and forth. I touch my arm against a guide runner. The guide runner is the magic, you guys. That made the dream come true. That gave us the ability to run. And as it turns out, I was on a track team then. I was the 3rd totally blind person in the world to run a sub 5-minute mile. There are lots of people doing it these days, but we were the trailblazers. And the only reason no one had done it before us was because people were blind in their mind. Had nothing to do with their legs or their physical ability. We still had to train, do all the things a runner does, a high-class, world-class runner does, but we just had to add the component of a guide runner. On my website, you'll also, on YouTube, you'll also see me downhill skiing. Same thing. I don't have time to get into that today. So I'm going to play this tune. It's a tune called The Power of the Dream. Any dream you have, whether you're 15 or 55 or 95, it must be honored with action. And I'm just going to pick up my guitar. Okay, let's get this. Every dream must be honored with action. And in this song, you're going to hear me sing a line that goes changing what it means to be blind. And I wrote this song for a conference that I was hired to speak at down in Australia. And it was the 5th General Assembly of the World Blind Union. And they wanted the song, a theme song. So I wrote the music, got some lyrics, and I was stuck. I was stuck because I was only able to think of lyrics about physical blindness. Then I got down to Australia. There were people from 160 different countries, of all languages, of all background. And guess what I discovered when I heard these people talking down there about their challenges? They were talking about not being blind in your mind, in your eyes as much as being blind in your eyes, how other people saw them. And just as I said to you earlier about ageism, is that what we discovered was it's up to me to change the perception of other people about whether I am able to do something or not. If I want someone who can see to understand that I can be independent and do pretty much anything they can do with a dream adjustment by using my imagination, if I can do that, then you can do it too in terms of the way people perceive you, your age. You and I, no matter what our challenge is, we have to present and live the posture and have the confidence, just like I showed you with the white cane. Be yourself, whoever you are now, whatever you are now, in your situation. It's up to you, it's up to me to project that image and that energy. Honor your dream, your goal with action. And ageism will be determined by the way we are initially. Other people will change because we have changed. Here it is, the power of the dream. Look, see that movement everywhere, improvement. 150 million tongues, one clear voice. From the land down under, a song, the sound of thunder, singing the dream to opening ears all over the world. There's a buzz in the air. The people from far and near have made a choice. The choice is clear. Changing what it means to be blind. Step by step, one day at a time. Still much to do, but it shall be. At the sighted eyes of the world will be able to see. There will be changes. The power of the dream. Due diligence by you and me. Changing what it means to be blind. Women of every nation are rising to the occasion to change humankind by movement and mind. We shall be as one. What of youth and the children? Empowerment is their freedom, and we must convey by example so they can say, no big deal, I'm blind. And the eyes of the earth will acknowledge the person first through our vision by knowing our worth. Changing what it means to be blind. Step by step, one day at a time. Still much to do, but it shall be. At the silent eyes of the world will be able to see. There will be changes. The power of the dream. Due diligence by you and me. Changing what it means to be blind. Many drops of rain grow forests and bring big mountains down. Hands across all borders, boundaries, and nations take walls down. Lift the veils, unfurl the sails, new journeys will abound. No one but ourselves can stop us now. Changing what it means to be blind. Step by step, one day at a time. what it means to be blind. Look, see that movement, and thank you. All right, then, so changing what it means, but I'm going to wrap up with one more last tune. Before I do, I'd like to just remind you that ask yourself, are you blind in your mind? Are you judging other people and people that maybe you're mentoring? Does your lack of mind sight influence them, like Mr. Cook made us a little blind in our mind? And then Mr. Fraser, through his mind sight, gave us ours back and taught us that we have to work on our mind sight. And I asked that question again. What's more debilitating, being blind in your mind or blind in your eyes? You know my answer to that one. Use your gifts to determine your purpose. If you have a passion, if you have a pulse, you have a purpose. It's up to you to find your purpose and your passion by being present, by being persistent, and making your life interesting and exciting. And remember, ageism will be determined by the masses. It will be determined by you and me, the way we live as people beyond the 55 or whatever seniors, I guess whatever qualifies as a senior. Anyway, you know what I'm talking about. And so it's important that we make sure we do that. Fast story here. About 10, 12 years ago, I had a stroke. I lost all the feeling in this hand. I couldn't play piano, couldn't play guitar. I came home from and I couldn't believe that it happened. And I was playing the piano. And my wife calls out, Terry. She came out and she said, Terry, what's going on? She said, it sounded like a cat walking over the keyboard there. That was my hand trying to play. And so I'm thinking, oh man, is this the rest of my life? Now, it could have been, but right away, because of what I'd learned at school about being a problem solver, I thought, okay, how am I going to continue to be an entertainer and not be able to play? So then I thought, okay, who out there can help me with this? So through acupuncture, through changing my, upping my nutrition, I've probably 97% of this hand back, and it keeps getting better. Guess how much medication I take? Zero medication. And I'm not saying that you don't need medication in your life, but I'm saying it's important to check what you're doing. And the reason I'm mentioning this is because the side effects of a lot of medications are pretty debilitating. Statin drugs, and I'm not a doctor. You can go do your own research on this and find out how that affects you. And it affects you physically, and it can affect you mentally as well. So that's part of discovering your purpose. Take responsibility. Find out what you can do. Talk to your doctor. Look for integrative medicine person, an integrative medicine or complementary person who does both. Get your doctor to work with a naturopath and use acupuncture and look at some of the alternative ways that can be blended in with the Western medicine. They can work together if they have the desire. So, you have a purpose, you have a pulse, you have a purpose. I want you to shout out at home now after me. I'm gonna say, we. I'm gonna do that again. I want you to shout out at home. We. That's nice. Can do. I can hear you do anything. Now I want you to come back with me. Repeat after me. I can. Say it again a little louder. I can. And then look at someone if they're with you, or just think of someone else. Say, you can. Nice. And say, we can do anything. Say it. We can do anything. If we implement and employ some of the things that we've been talking about. I know that you can, I can, we can do anything, but it starts with you and then the team. Bring your team together. God bless. Have a lovely life. And here it is, a song called We Can Do Anything. at us now, here on the edge of forever. Every impossible dream can come true. The mountains are many and meadows a few. I'll always believe in you. In all my time, you were my sweet inspiration. When I am lost, you are the light that leads me home. All of life's road, you will travel beside me. You are the only one. We can do anything, we can go anywhere. All of the wonders of the world are yours and mine. We'll take the morning sun, all the stars in the Milky Way. We'll build a rainbow in our once upon a time. You speak my name, I feel a calm washing over me. You touch my hand, I can get carried away. All of life's road, you will travel beside me. You are the only one. We can do anything, we can go anywhere. All of the wonders of the world are yours and mine. We'll take the morning sun, all the stars in the Milky Way. We'll build a rainbow in our once upon a time. Maybe we'll change the world. Maybe we are what the world's been looking for. Oh, yeah. They can learn to love like we love. There wouldn't be a word for lonely. Nobody would be lonely anymore. We can do anything, we can go anywhere. All of the wonders of the world are yours and mine. We'll take the morning sun, all the stars in the Milky Way. We'll build a rainbow in our once upon a time. Whatever rainbows in our once upon a time. Whoa, whoa. Thank you. Have a great day, have a great life, and shine the gold of the silver economy around the world for everyone to see. Thank you. And thank you very much. And
very nice. Very nice.
Terry!
That's live.
What a voice.
That's
What
live
a
for you,
voice.
baby. It's live. Okay. Thank
Terry,
you. Yes.
it's Helena. Oh my goodness! I think you had us all weeping. Especially with that long last song. We've known each other for a while. You have never ever ceased to inspire me and impress me. This was really wonderful.
Thank you.
I've got a few little acclamations for you in the questions and answers, and I think you know this person, Debbie Adams.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
Debbie says Terry is a rock star. fellow Newfoundlander and Labradorian, and so supportive of our veteran community. You're our hero.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
he deserves a big clap. And I've got another one from Heather Dunning, and she says, Terry, uh, I've heard you're an amazing motivational speaker, and I thoroughly enjoyed your presentation as much as I have loved your music over the years. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And Helene, I should say that if anyone out there, sometimes people are a little nervous about asking certain questions. So nothing nothing you ask can be too personal, and nothing can be uncomfortable. So whether it's about being blind or anything else, uh, don't be shy.
Yeah, and we can put those questions in and in the Q&A. Just a second, I think I have another new one. Oh, this one is from Kit Flynn. He says, please come to Ottawa. You are so great. So
Open the gates and I'll be there, right?
open the gate, that's right. And we've got, ladies and gentlemen, we've got some polls too. If you go to Terry's picture on the agenda, you can see some of the polls. We do have to leave fairly soon, Terry, but you know, some of the polls are, is it possible to teach an old dog new tricks? You showed us it's possible, right?
Absolutely, and it's more than just believing it. Yesterday, you had a conversation about believing something. Well, an old dog can learn new tricks, and so can we. You make the choice first, and don't forget the action component. And do it with an affirmation. Say, I am a healthy person. And then you think about it. What does that mean? So I'm going to start moving. I'm going to pay attention to pay attention to sleep. I'm going to pay attention to all the different things that contribute to I am a healthy person. So it's good to think about it. It's good to be positive, but positive only works when there's action of some sort.
Oh, you know, Terry, that's so true. And you standing there in front of us with everything that you have done, it's not because you just thought it up and say, oh, I'm going to do the affirmation. No, you put in the sweat behind the affirmation to make it happen, right?
Yeah, absolutely. But that happened from all the wonderful teachers and coaches and mentors I've had, and everyone in this audience, Helena, has done that in some way. And so the big thing is, don't stop. Find another path, and just keep it going. So just because things have changed doesn't mean your attitude or creating a vision for yourself, being you as you are and as you are able to be now.
Yeah. And Terry, and I think you maybe one of the most important things for me that you said is, you know, are you blind, or are you blind in your mind?
Right.
You know, like so many of us, I know, you know, personally, I've been blind in my mind to myself. So there's such a wonderful learning there.
Yeah, well, I've been double blind, so I really have to be careful, right?
Well, I'm going to let you go
Okay.
because we do have another little bit in the program. But I just want to tell you, it's been so inspirational to have you and to hear your music again. Thank you very much, Terry.
Thank you. And I want to thank Adam and Kirk here, who were dealing with the internet, and it had nothing to do with technicians. It's all the internet. So thanks. Let's round of applause, technicians. Yeah, and their patience.
Absolutely. It's all a learning journey for all of us, eh?
Indeed. Yeah. Thanks a lot. God bless. Take care. Thanks.
Take care, Terry. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Oh, that was great.